Nigeria's great, massive oil and gas potentials, and we believe Nigeria will play a key role in the global energy within the next decade. We are pleased to collaborate with the Akwa Ibom State Government to bring the first of its kind oil and gas training and research center to the sub-Saharan region. I think that's for me. With this facility, Akwa Ibom can produce and provide a robust range of oil and gas development courses to local students and employees in the oil and gas sector. With this great center, another remarkable feather has been added to the great state, Akwa Ibom. This state will no longer be known as a place with a large oil reserve, but it will also be known as one of the great hubs in Nigeria for oil and gas capacity development. At Halliburton, we do not only talk, but we show action. And hence, we are proud to be the first to show full support to the people of this great state and also to Nigeria as a country by taking the lead and setting up first of its kind training and research center in Nigeria. In conclusion, Your Excellency, sir, once more and on behalf of Halliburton, I would like to say a big thank you for your support and for opening the doors and allowing us to work with this great state. Thank you very much, everyone.
Many present here will agree that the Nigerian oil and gas industry has come a long way. In addition to the international operators and service companies, numerous indigenous companies are now very active in the sector. However, despite this great stride attained in the Nigerian oil and gas industry, we are still lacking in the area of manpower training. Many of the leaders in the oil and gas industry lament about the death of an indigenous pool of young talent. This apparent lack is a result of many companies chasing after the few experts trained decades ago by international companies, and therefore focused on recycling people who are approaching retirement. The resultant effect is a generational gap of talent. This dearth of talent has been identified and reported severally by one of the Hobart companies, SCMS, the Hobart Consultant Management Services. SCMS within the Hobart Group focuses on full cycle manpower supply and management solutions. Hobart experience through SCMS, in addition to requests received from concerned Nigerians both at home and in the diaspora, informed Hobart's commitment to training with the goal of bridging the generational gap of talent in the oil and gas industry. Hobart is proud to be associated with a visionary state governor, Dr. Gabriel, who is committed to developing human capacity. We got all the support we wanted from the start.
This center, established or located in Akwa Ibom State. This is what you should know. One, the governor believes fervently, via his 5-point agenda: job creation, wealth creation, poverty alleviation, infrastructural development, an all-inclusive political system. He knows that democracy in Nigeria is not sustainable until we can embark upon schemes that will take these brilliant men and women, young men and women, off the streets and give them a sense of hope, a sense of purpose, a sense of encouragement, and get them empowered to contribute their lot to the socio-economic development of our country. And he saw, within the context of his 5-point agenda, this center as one of the veritable tools for him to use in the realization of segments of his 5-point agenda. That's what drove him. There is one thing you know about a good workman. A bad workman quarrels with his tools, isn't it? A good workman, some are saws to grab is good tools. And my boss saw this center as one of the potent tools he would use in the accomplishment of his 5-point agenda. And that's why we're having what event we're having today. The second point is local content. My background is in ICT and electronic engineering, and this is what we said when I was president of ATCON and NIG, the telecom industry. When we were licensing the GSM operators, one of the things I used to say, without mentioning them, so that I would not be guilty of the marketing of certain telecom operators. I said, left to you, you will probably carry all the segments of your tower, the 60 degrees antenna, sectoral antenna, the cell site equipment. You would get them from your respective countries, and if need be, if we allowed you, you will go to take oxygen into oxygen cylinders and come to Nigeria to breathe, because oxygen from your respective countries are more oxygenated than oxygen in Nigeria. And I said, doctor, take it easy. So, but for me to listen to the way my friend Gina Simdi delivered his speech, then we have come to full realization of one of the factors or one of the components of national content or local content. Soft in terms of hardware, hard in terms of hardware, system integration where you pick pieces of technology, integrate them, get a software to drive it, and you deliver a solution. Physical infrastructure like towers and masts, they feed, and I can tell you, it's what we are doing today. Human capacity building, human expertise. And you cannot do any enterprise that desires the sustainability, you cannot do so without having a critical mass of manpower that is copiously available to drive growth and progress within that industry. So for me, representing my boss, to listen to the kind of speeches I was grasping today, I can only say that you are on a very good course to progress. I really appreciate it. And another point I would like to add with respect to this event, and as it relates to my boss, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State. Young persons, young people, those of us who have been doing consultancy either World Bank or UN or ITU or UNESCO, they define youth with the following characteristics: energetic, dynamic, imaginative, innovative, creative, and they put the last one, which I always love at. Above all, they say, impatient. Impatient. What that means is any nation or state, like the case of any state in Nigeria, that trivializes full utilization, full harvesting, full harnessing of this segment of its population, that is what? Energetic, innovative, creative, and above all, impatient. You will be as backward as you discourage development of that segment of your population. And the governor says this often, and he uses the phrase, doctor, we have to take them off the street. And I heard one of the speakers say, so I think you, Gina Simbi, to take the young, brilliant men and minds of women and young boys off the street. The point I want us to put in context is what we have always learned in engineering faculty. When there's a story that when you learn about the importance of expertise, of a factory in Turkey that was producing a lot, and all of a sudden production stopped because there was a malfunction somewhere in the machinery of the factory. And the factory was losing $1.5 million weekly. And they did all they could, the finest of engineers, like many engineers that are seated here, and many engineers that are seated in the audience. They tried to fix it, they couldn't fix it. Then, this is almost 3 weeks. Imagine 1.5 times 3, how much they were losing. And they brought one engineer from a country in Asia, maybe just about decent height. And because of his constraint in height, he asked for a ladder. So he went to the control panel in the dashboard of the factory. So he climbed the ladder, went up, removed for those of us electronic engineers. So he picked his screwdriver. When you pick it, this side is flat, the other is star. Okay. Found out that he needed to use the star side, so he changed it and put the star side, and then the flat side was sticking out. So you got, you hold a whole display with so many meters on the control panel of the factory. He went up with a ladder, opened one box, and as he opened the box, he got a flat screwdriver, twisted the potentiometer, a pot, for those of us electronic engineers. And as he twisted it to reduce the level of the resistance to the pot, the factory picked up with a big bang. Boom! And there was a standing ovation for this engineer from a certain country in Asia. I don't want to mention it so that I would not be accused of marketing that company excessively, or that country excessively. And then the MD said, wait a minute, this is really great. Thank you so much. How much is your bill, please? Where's the chief of finance? Please get his bill ready. And the gentleman said, my bill is $1 million. Let me say, wait a minute, just 5 minutes? Don't tell me that, it's too much. Don't forget, this is the CEO who was losing 1.5 million naira per week. And this is already 3 weeks. And this is what the gentleman, the engineer said. And that is what you are here for today. He said, Mr. MD, CEO, for twisting the potentiometer, only $1. But for knowing which of the meters in the whole control panel, and having gone to 1 meter and opening with the whole PCB, printed circuit board, and knowing which of the passive components to twist for your factory to come back to life, the bill is $999,999 US. And this point, I learned this in Ife as a first year student in the engineering faculty, and I have never forgotten it over the years. And my last remark on behalf of my boss is this center does not pose a threat or is not in competition with similar centers abroad. After all, there was MIT, Princeton, Oxford, Cambridge, long before my great Ife, long before UI, long before Unilag, long before UNIU, long before ABU, isn't it? Absolutely. And we found the need as a nation to develop expertise locally and increase the rapid response preparedness to develop the critical mass of manpower to work in our economy, to drive the economy. That's why we build universities and all that working well in our country. So this center competes not, threatens not any foreign center. It's for the good of the industry. Thank you so much.
Is when you run it at 6-inch cable into the well, this is what you put on it to keep it away from the wall of the wall board that you are actually drilling. Yes, let's go to the next.
section from here down is the spirit drilling product service line for Halliburton. And we're responsible for directional drilling and formation evaluation. We want to know exactly what we have in the formation, what kind of formation. And
Explain directional drilling. What's that?
Directional drilling is when it's more or less like a GPS. You want to go from one point A to point B, and there are different ways you can get to. You want to go through the shortest and the quickest and the safest. So if you have multiple targets in the reservoir, you want to be able to drill one well to intercept these targets, and that's what we do in directional drilling. It's more or less like you don't want to go blind. You want to intercept the reservoir and get the maximum drain from the reservoir. And these are the tools that give you all the information and what we use in acquiring this information. So I'm going to explain quickly what these tools are. And these tools we have here, we can strip them down completely here in country, here at this location, and build them back. And each component have its own use. So we have the capability, self-sufficient in country, to be able to dismantle these tools and build them fresh and for utilization. This is a pulsar. We call this a pulsar. Downhole kilometers, let's say 2-3 kilometers downhole, you want to transmit signal to the surface. How do you transmit this signal? It's either you hardwire them or you use mud pulse telemetry. Hardwire, it's really very complex and expensive. The quickest and easiest and cheapest way is by mud pulse telemetry. You flow mud through the drill string, you cause pulses, and the pulses are received on surface. And when you get them on surface, you're able to decode this information and you're able to identify exactly what information. If you're in sand, if you're in shale, if you're in anhydrite, these tools will tell you. The mud flows through this pipe and it intersects these impellers. As they spin, they generate power as well. Now, there are two functions. This impeller is able to self-generate its power, and when you're not flowing, there's a battery, I'm going to show you downstairs, that supplies power to the entire string. So at any time you are gathering information, this is a transmitter, transmits information to other part of the string, and this is a pulsar system that they're all built in a tube called the collars. Let us go over to this one.
This pulsar, is it electromagnetic or is it acoustic?
It's electromagnetic. It has a couple. So as you spin, you're able to create electromagnetic, just like a dynamo. Okay, you create a dynamo, it generates power to power the string, and also does the function of creating pulses on surface. So dual function. This is a piece, this is a transducer. What this does is it detects this pulses on the standpipe. You mount this one on surface, not downhole, but it's able to detect these smaller pulses, and these pulses are coded in algorithm coded to be able to determine if you are 5 degrees or 20 degrees. Resistivity is 5 ohms and so on. So this is the one that determines it. They're connected to computer.
So that is really
but
this.
the transducer package on reception of the pulses on or above,
Yes.
what you receive indicates depth or what?
What we receive are reservoir information or directional information. If you gamma, let's say you are in sand, you expect the gamma to be less unless you are in hot sand. So it will tell you your 55 API or 100 API if you are in shale. Or if it is neutron, it will tell you the kind of porosity. If it is bulk density, what is the bulk density information? So whatever information you get, also direction-wise.
Okay. So
inclination and azimuth, it will tell you where.
It's not only that, but also the
Formation evaluation.
the physical evaluation
Yes.
about the
Of the-
structure.
About
Exactly,
the structure
yes.
of the subsurface.
Okay,
That is really interesting.
So you can create image. You can create image of the borehole.
Can you create 3D of that image?
Yes.
But you must have knowledge to be able to.
You must have, yes. Okay, what you have here is like the brain of the entire string, because no brain, nothing. Okay, so this has the vibration sensor, the memory that gets all the information, because as you are transmitting to surface, you want to also store information downhole. So when you come, you'll be able to have kind of a dual opportunity to get your information. This is the probe that tells you the inclination and the azimuth. So we call this is a survey probe. You can adjust it depending on the kind of string. If you want to make a small string, these are tubes that you can compress and we still give you the information. These are inter annular connectors. This piece is used in all the strings. I just brought one here to be able to tell you exactly how we connect from string to string. Now we have multiple strings. In Halliburton, we have what we call sexta combo. The sexta combo has the gamma, the resistivity, the porosity, the neutron density, the M rail, just name it. You can take reservoir pressure sample real time, and you can also take fluid sample and bring them to surface real time. This, yes.
Do you have a tool that can predict when you are getting stuck in a hole, if you are going to be stuck then you can stop, probably take an
Yes, we
intervention
call them
zone.
the pressure wire drilling tools. You'll be able to know exactly the well bore mechanics and tell you if exactly you're overloading the well bore and you need to flow more to be able to bring the cotton
We
to
can
surface.
take technical questions about the products we have out in Halliburton later. Can you explain to the
Yes.
SSG and the ES what you
Okay,
have here? So-
this what we have here is a kind of the battery insert. For regulatory purpose, we don't have the lithium batteries here. But you see, we have them. For you to build the tool, you have to know exactly what power it needs. So you build them, the battery cells in staves, and you put them in those slots, so they're able to fit into the collar, and that's what forms the dual power capability for the entire string. Okay.
Who's the engineer here, please?
So these are surface. You said something about depth. You want to know exactly where you are. These are a code of fixed platform.